The hormone oxytocin was originally popularised as a happy hormone in the sense that it would increase pro-social behaviours. But since these initial findings, researchers found that oxytocin can facilitate greater cooperation towards people in your in-group, such as people that share your ethnicity, but also decreases cooperation with people in your out-group, such as people with a different ethnicity. So this finding, among others, like oxytocin increases gloating, for instance, has shot this happy hypothesis to the ground. In its place has come the social salience hypothesis, which suggests that oxytocin increases your perception of social cues in your environment, regardless of whether they're positive or negative. At the moment, we don't really have much of an idea of whether this change happens at a pre-conscious level before we even realise what we're looking at, or at a more conscious level when we have time to process these social cues. To answer this question, Foonmare and colleagues from LMU Munich did an investigation looking at this very thing. Here's Clarissa Zwarg and Anne Rimpel giving us a background on this study.
The study was based on the assumption that along social saliency, oxytocin plays a major role in modulating attentional shifts towards social cues at early stages of processing.
For a better understanding of how oxytocin works, we wanted to differentiate between early information processing and complex high-order mental processes. To operationalize the latter, we explored differences between in- and out-group related social cues. We decided to investigate both stages of processing by using eye tracking.
So in this study, Clarissa, Anne and their team administered oxytocin to 30 participants and placebo to 30 participants while tracking their eye movements. Then they were presented with social and non-social cues that were randomly assigned to in-groups or out-groups. Here's what they found.
As we assumed, participants under oxytocin increased gaze durations towards social but not non-social stimuli, whereas this effect did not occur under placebo. Interestingly, there was no in-group bias in this early stage of processing, so all social information was processed equally regardless of the group.
So in conclusion, our results suggest that oxytocin promotes social saliency. In addition, oxytocin had only effects on the early stages of attention, but not on cognitive processing in later stages of visual processing.
Now, what I really liked about this study was that in-groups and out-groups were experimentally randomised. Previous research using this kind of paradigm would actually use the participant's ethnicity as a way of categorising in-groups and out-groups. Now, because this isn't a true experimental manipulation, this can actually introduce some biases into the research. Because this research found that oxytocin actually modulates the processing of social cues at a pre-conscious level, regardless of social identity, this tells us that oxytocin is more likely operating at a more general level, rather than a more higher order cognitive level.